Okay, hello everyone. Let's start our today free lesson. And this lesson will be dedicated to finding bugs, some bugs, and actually learning how to file the bugs. Can we find all of them in the software? But first of all, um, let me introduce myself. Before you were working with Arthur, um, our head of the Techstars dev, and I'm going to introduce myself in a minute. Agenda of today's lessons, actually, it's short review of the project again, because that was the project that I was creating the requirements for. Then I will show you my version of test cases. I know you submitted your version and Arthur was checking them for you, doing some notes, remarks, and so on. And I hope you were able to improve them. If not, you still have some time for it. Then I will show you some testing in practice, but it's going to be like very simple part. And then we will talk about like how we will file some defects, bug reports if we found something, right? Then of course, homework and people who will do this homework, they will be rewarded by this. For this, and then any questions that you have, I can answer them. Also, if you have any questions during the lecture, please pass them to the chat or just ask. Okay, we're working via Zoom, and it's very easy to unmute yourself by clicking on the space. While you are holding space, you can speak, then you just like let it go and you're muted again. So this is like the easy practice during the meeting. So let's use it. Okay, my name is Julia Stepico. I live in Santa Clara. Currently, I'm actually located in Russia, where I went for a vacation. They just finished. Feel great and ready to go back to work. Like my main time, I am working for Data. Data, this is a machine learning startup located in Silicon Valley, and I'm going to be back in 2 weeks there. Working as a software QA engineer and recently was promoted to QA lead. My main focus is acceptance. So like acceptance of the product. That means checking all the steps of the software development, uh, different types of testing, and release lead. It's actually right now it's going to be dedicated to different person, and my main focus is going to be leading the QA team. So my background, I'm a mathematician, graduated from Russian State University, Faculty of Applied Mathematics and Cybernetics. Also, I am a testologist, the person um, who is a specialist in creating assessment tests for people. This part of my education actually helped me a lot while I was working as a QA engineer. Here you can see like my contacts, my LinkedIn profile, and not updated for some time. I need to do it. And also my email for any questions that you will have after a lesson. Okay. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm like very chatty. So, okay. So, during the last week, you were working with the documentation, with the requirements, and based on your questions and answers that were given after your questions, the document was finalized actually. So let's see if we have any new comments here. So I see. Do you have right now any questions? Because actually I was writing the documentation too, and if you don't have an answer here, then maybe you can ask right now, because we're going to move on to the testing part. And it's very, very important for the people to understand requirements. How does it work? How the application works before you actually saw it for the first time. Arthur was doing a great job for answering. I see for answering the questions. Okay, I see everything was answered. Maybe except this one. Cancel button has different color on requirement and on the picture. Please clarify what color text and background it has. So you could notice that these requirements were not strict about form, design, size, font type, and things like this. So what does it mean? There are requirements like that. What do we do in this case? So any versions by you? How would you behave if you are not given any directions about like font size, button color, and so on, and like you need to judge, okay, is it correct or not? And then I will answer, but I want to hear your any versions. Come on, guys. Yulia, you asked this question about like color on the of the button, cancel button. What do you think about this actually?
Hi. So I guess we doesn't include it in test cases then, if it's not so important.
But still, look at that. You found some kind of
Mismatch.
Mismatch, yes, because in one place it has one color, in different place it has different color. What your gut tells you actually about this, what to do.
Well, I feel like it's error. That's why I comment on it, because I think that's why I need to be clarified what I need to do about it. If it doesn't, like you explained, it's not so important. But if it will be important, then we need to change it.
Okay, so in our work, in our job of QA engineers, this is very important to clarify things. If you are not sure, there's a possibility of the bug behind it. So it's better to be over careful, about things than just skip it. Okay, it's not important and so on. So this is very good that you're asking questions. Other thing of that, and you have to be ready for it, that very often, I would say 70% of our questions, they will be like people will say you, it's not important. Come on, that's not a bug. That's we just did this way and so on. Like let's move on. And in this case, you can get this feeling that okay, why I'm asking all these questions, doing these clarifications if we don't need it, right? We do need it in other 30% of cases. And this 30% of cases can become like really ugly bugs that will break everything. So it's better to be careful and ask it. In our particular case, you were trying to compare the documentation here in Google Doc and visual documentation that you have, like these graphs and so on, schema here in Whimsical. Let me see if I will have an access here. Okay, password. So here, this is a limitation, simple limitation of the system that we have here. 1 second. It was about cancel button, right? And there is no, 1 second, let me check. Design, oh, okay, I see this cancel button and different color on requirements and picture. So here there's close button, right? Not cancel button. So in this case, what do we do? If we're talking about like colors, about forms and so on, as a test engineer with some experience, I would judge by consistency. If there's no requirements for specific font type, sizes, and so on, it's okay. And also, this schema, like this whimsical wireframes, they're just example. They're showing workflow, how the application is working, right? And in this case, we are just, it's not like 100% match with the application. It should be. It's just an example to help you to visualize how the application will work and so on. This is a helper. And in this case, the main point of testing like design to see if it's consistent. What does it mean? Everywhere purple is used, purple color. And if we open our application later and we see, okay, everything is kind of purplish, everything is very consistent, and bam, we have a like blue button that's like very different. If it's not the button that says, okay, if you click on it, you will destroy everything, like really something different. If it's like one of the button in the workflow, it should be consistent, right? It should be appropriate size. It should be similar color and so on. And you, as a person who has their own user experience, and you already have a lot of user experience, like everyone uses computer every day, you can judge with your gut if it's bug or not. Okay, so this time it's going to be easy like this. Okay, but it's never bad to ask more questions. Maybe you will be treated as annoying person a little bit later, but you will prevent the most number of the bugs at the same time. Okay, let's move on. So our documentation was finalized. I already went through Slack and saw some of your homeworks. Great job, guys. I actually added in our document this template test case and bug reports. You should have an access for this, right? But I will share the link one more time right now. I added 2 additional sheets that one of them has test cases, but were not updated for some time. I already, I'm dragging that from like the previous from the previous time. Maybe they need to be updated, but that's my version, how I were writing them. I think, and I'm gonna work with them today to demonstrate you how you're gonna test it. Then you are going to use your test cases, and if you haven't finished yet, you can take a sneak peek in mine. Maybe it will give you some ideas about like how it works. It's very easy. It's just like one sentence for each test case. Sometimes I was splitting them into steps. Not sure if Arthur showed you how to use steps. Um, you will see it here in this case. And also there's a bug report template, another sheet in this document now. So let me see if you will have an access. If I click on this one, it will navigate me here. And yes, it gives us here. Okay, in this case, I'm sending right now for everyone who doesn't have the link, so you could open it and we will be able to see similar things. Okay, so in the document that I just sent the link into the chat, and for people who is watching the recording, don't worry, like in our Slack channel, this presentation will be available and you will be able to click on the link and go to this document. So there's a 3 tabs. First, it's template that you are using for creating your own test cases. Second, my test cases by Julia, right? And the third one, bug report template that we will use for today's lessons. Okay, so when I was writing test cases, and not just these test cases, but any test cases that I write usually, and I do it a lot, like every day in my work, almost. I do prioritize some elements over others. I usually use similar workflow every time. So I am checking that elements that have to be here on the page, they're present. I check that the elements, they're consistent, that they're here all visible, accessible. So kind of whatever needs to be on the page, it's present, right? So this is my first point of testing concept. Then I am trying to test properly the main functionality. My requirements describe what the page needs to do, right? What the application needs to do. And basically, our get in line application, what it's doing, it assign to the person who is registering in this system a specific code and put it in line, right? This person put their in line, so they could be monitoring where are they in the line. Okay, so this is the main functionality of our current application, simple application, and I need to test it properly. What does it mean, test it properly? I'm going through requirements and checking point after point that everything that's said in the requirements are correct, working correctly. Then when I satisfied with these results, usually our requirements, they describe only positive cases. Like we are not writing documentation for the cases when we are gonna try to add like some specific symbols in the fields, or when we're, because it's supposed to be the person, right? The human. And usually they have very common names that like it's alphabetical symbols, right? So requirements, they describe this type of situation, and our proper testing of main functionality, it's going to be all about like, okay, is our requirements implemented correctly or not? Then when we're satisfied with this, we will try to break the application. We will try to put very strange symbols in any input fields. We will try to go not the way we're supposed to, not like from the top to the bottom, right? Like filling in all fields, but for example, from the bottom to the top. We will try to skip some of the fields because we're not supposed to. Like all our instructions, all our requirements, they say, okay, fill in properly all the fields, then like this button will appear, you can click on it, you will have some results and so on. Breaking the application means actually trying to skip some steps or do an opposite direction, so on. And these are going to be our negative test cases when we are not just trying break the application, but we are actually checking how the application will um, response to such actions, because users are not following direction. You can do like this size of instructions about like put your first name and last name in this field and in this field, and they will do something like crazy, absolutely opposite. They will try to put their date of birth here and the name there. So easy, because these people are our users, and you have to expect from them their best in breaking the rules. It's always like this. So in this case, we are going to be we're gonna like to be creative and try some breaks. Okay. And the last step that we are actually checking if we have requirements for that, or we have like um, some kind of vision about how it should be, we're checking design and text. If everything is correct, consistent, and so on. Why I prioritize this workflow this way? Because sometimes we are test engineers, we are limited in time, and we don't have time for checking everything. Specifically, we have limited time for checking corner cases and design usually. And with experience, you will see, okay, oh, which corner cases I have to check like right away. But which of them I will be checking like later. Um, if we have requirements, probably users will have some kind of user guide that will navigate user, okay, how you should fill in all the fields, how you should go through our application, how you should work with it. And if there is instruction, you should follow it. If you're going like one step to the side, it's kind of we're saying, okay, to the user, it's your fault that you actually don't follow the direction, and because of that, the application kind of broken. It's not a good practice, but when we are limited in time and we cannot test everything, we are really focused on checking elements and main functionality, everything else going like with lower priority. So this is testing concept. And right now we are on this step when we are gonna execute test cases that we wrote. Okay, so how do we do it? I'm going to our document with template. I'm going to this test cases, Julia, that I wrote. You will need to do similar thing with your test cases, okay? Not with mine, but with your test cases. Look what we are doing. So I actually did different ID like test case 1, test case 2, test case 3, and so on. I believe in template it was like ID that would be appropriate from the Azure DevOps system. Probably Arthur was like showing you this one a little bit. So, but I modified a little bit, maybe. 1 second, let me test suite. Yeah, I actually added another column here, like test suite. That means I would like to show in which area my test cases are. So, for example, the first 5 test cases, you were already working on them last lesson altogether. What does it mean? Test cases, they're in the area of text for main page, right? This is the text, 1 second, here on the main page, this area. And my test cases was that text area is actually present on the main page. It consists of 3 lines and has purple color and font. You could split actually these test cases, do them more granular, but I did it in one. Maybe shame on me, but it's your personal style. Don't do them too general, like to combine many points, but sometimes we can combine a couple of them. So, and then I'm checking the text for all 3 lines. Like the first line is there are, then the second line is some people where X is a number of records in the table, and the third line is in the line, right? So in this document also, we do have the column here, pass, fail. Oh, and also look at this. This test case about the line, how many people we do have, I split for 2 steps. First step, we're checking the text, that it actually says like number, people. And then we're checking that this value is accurate, that it shows number of records in the table. Okay. So then we do have the column pass fail, and it was supposed to be I need to apply some filter here, so it would be drop down list, and we could do 1 second. 1 second. Do I have it in my? Yeah, so I will change it. It will be drop down list, so you will be able to check is some, for example, like pass, and it will be green, or fail, or maybe some of your test cases, when you will see the application itself, it will be like not applicable. You cannot apply your test case because you understood documentation somehow differently than developers, and it's results some kind of miscommunication. You like wrote one test case, but the application looks so differently, but it's correct. So you cannot apply your test case, so you can mark it as NA. So 1 second, let me check where are we in our presentation, and we will go further. Okay, I will be back here. Let's do some testing right now. This is our application. So let me share the link in the chat. Also, this link will be available in the presentation. So for everyone who's watching the video recording, so the link that I sent to the chat, you will be able to find in the presentation in Slack channel. Okay, so guys, we do have our application, and look at it. We already have some issues with our text area right now. I can see it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to perform some testing. It's always a good idea to have it kind of in different windows on the screen. So you could see your test cases and the application at the same time. Not available right now, but let me try to this way. Okay. Like this. So look what we got. Right now, based on your test cases that you created, we are gonna test our application. I will go through couple suites, couple elements. We'll do it to show your example. Then we'll talk about like how to file bug report, because we will find one immediately. And then you do some practice. Easy like this. Let's see. Text area is present on the main page. It is here, so it's actually similar way, similar space that we have on our mockups, on our wireframes, so it's okay. And I can mark this as a pass because I check it, so it's here. The next one, text area consists of 3 lines and has purple color on font. It has purple color on font, yes, but look at this. It's very important when you are dealing with test cases like, okay, it consists of 3 lines, or it has some specific width or height or so on. Try to play with your window. And right now, I can say that it does not consist of 3 lines. It's actually flexible. And it's not what was described in the requirements. It has to be like this always, right? And it isn't. So what do we do in this case? Any versions?
It's a bug.
Yeah,
So we
that, yes.
so we need
Yes.
to file bug report, right?
Yes. Yes. So let's check this area, like these 5 test cases until the end. We're not going to go too far. We need to stop here and actually to file a bug, but before we do it, so let's check just this area because it's all about this text. So this test case, maybe it's too small, but I comment everything, right? Maybe it's too small on your screen. It says text area consists of 3 lines, and actually this one failed. So I will mark it as a fail because it's true. And but also let's check like this text here, okay? First line, there are, yeah, it's always like this. It's gonna be fine. Like not just like or there's a 2 possibility here. You actually can resize your screen to this one and check if the text appears correctly, or you can mark this 3 as not applicable, because kind of before text arrays consist of 3 lines, you cannot judge each line separately, right? So we can mark it as an A, and this is a possibility. Look at this, check the text, X people and A, but look at this. this step, that X value here, this one, is actually correct number of records. We can check. Let's see. Right now it says 8 people. Let me check. 1 second. And we do have in my in the table 8 people. Really, right now, people in the line 8. So this step actually is correct. So it's passed. The third line is in the line, and again, it's hard to check if third line is in the line when I can resize it anytime. So I will do not applicable here. What does it mean? This bug, that text area consists of 3 lines, it actually blocks me from checking these 3 test cases. So in this case, I will try to push as a test engineer. Sometimes we do have on different projects, we have like power to push some fixes like faster. Sometimes our role is just file them and that's it. So let's go to this role, how to file the bug, okay? So if you do have, the main point is, if you do have your test cases described in some kind of form like this, it's very easy then to test. You're just going in checking, okay, if your test cases like they're implemented correctly or not, and you mark them on pass or fail. And if something fail, you have to um, file a bug for this. Okay, let's talk about how to file the bug. Any questions so far, guys? I'm speaking fast and maybe something is not very well understood. Just let me know, okay?
I have a question. I
Sure. Mhm.
Yeah. So, in what other situations you can mark the test case as not applicable? Only if the one case before was failed, or there are any other situations?
Okay, so for example, sometimes your requirements describe, yeah, good question. One example that actually comes to my mind right now is, for example, when you're using the application, you can access it as a different type of users. For example, this application, our application here, we are accessing it as a patient. And I will kind of show you a small secret, right? There is another functionality of this application already that we are not showing during this free course. This application is much bigger than we are showing, but this is patient page, right? As a patient, I can use only this functionality, and I will be shown only this table here. But if I behave as a administrator or as some kind of office manager, right? Maybe I will have different functionality here. And sometimes our requirements, they describe just like everything that can be on the page. We got the documentation and described everything that can be. But when I am a patient, I cannot access some of the functionality. And in this case, for example, you didn't know this. You just like read documentation. You haven't seen yet the application. You described all test cases. And then when you got the application on your hand, like you realized I cannot check um, some elements for regular user, for the patient. So what do I do? Do I delete my test cases? No, you can mark them not applicable, but if you, or you will change them, something like additional step is going to be on in these test cases, something like, okay, if I log in as a administrator, like I can see some specific delete buttons or so on, so on. So sometimes it's about not just like the bug that's blocking you from checking something, but access level that blocking you, or for checking something. This application is simple, like one workflow, but sometimes you need to tune a lot of settings, like to click here, go there, check here, jump into next page, click on the button, and then something will appear. And for example, something is not implemented yet. Some of the steps, it's not implemented yet, so you cannot get to this point to check the next one. While you blocked, you're marking it as not applicable right now in this moment. So these are types of situations that just like come to my mind.
Okay, thank you. And I have also another question. You you were reciting the size of the web page to check the text. And usually when you test the application, for example, you test each page, you test it first, all cases in a big screen, then you recheck all the test cases in a smaller window, or you just test each case in each size window. How does it work usually?
Okay, so during our main course, when we are like when I'm working with a group, I usually describe which type of documentation we can get. Right now on this free course, you just have one Google Doc, right, that described your documentation. But actually, usually we do have more sources of information, not just like one document, but also some kind of best practices or some standards that we use for like all elements in our application. As one of the standards, it can be actually screen size that we recommend to our users to use. For example, in my company, we do recommend like the minimum resolution of 1920, like I mean width of the screen, because my application that I'm working on, testing it, it's machine learning application. There's a lot of statistics on the screen, and if you will have, if you, the user will use like narrow window, like they cannot use this application on a tablet, for example. It should be a laptop with good screen, with good resolution, or they will lose some information. We are not like, we are saying to our user, and we describe it as user manual, like, hey guys, please use resolution like bigger than this specific one. So for this project, we were trying to be flexible, uh, and it's really bug here, so it's easy to fix it for the developers and do it not the flexible, then it's resizing, but like strictly in 3 lines. So but yeah, usually there are some recommendation standards, and they're usually described in separate document, and um, they're saved in some kind of Confluence page and something, and test engineers, they have an access to it. Okay.
Thank you.
So there's many sources of documentation, and I usually, like when I'm talking with my students, I'm saying, guys, you have to be like sponges. You have to accumulate all information that you have about application, because you're supposed to be people who knows the application the best. So yeah, and this is our way to success. Okay, let's move to the next step. That's not a lot actually left here. Let's talk a little bit about the bug. So we actually found one, but let's do some kind of formal description and so on, right? Some theory here, because it's supposed to be the lesson, not just a chat. So we found some kind of mismatch. We found some kind of inconsistency. It's working not like it's supposed to. So this is a bug. Someone say, like, is it really so easy? Because I've read like really complex description of what is software bug. It is so easy, guys. When you're in an interview, when people are asking, okay, what is software bug? It's easy like this. It's mismatch between what we're expecting to see and what we actually see. So if you forgot during the interview, and it happened to me a couple of times, I'm like, okay, English not my native language, obviously. So, and specifically on my earlier steps when I was interviewing on very simple positions, in my way, I was like almost translating some of my phrases in my head, and mismatch, I just forgot this word. So I use difference. So software bug is any difference between expected and actual result. The other thing, sometimes this difference, it's really not so important, and we're kind of missing it, and we are correcting documentation for it sometimes even. So mismatch between expected and actual result. Expected, where we are getting this expected result? From documentation. From the document like we do have here, like this Google Doc that describe how it should work. It's our expectation. It's our product owner expectation, our customer, client who ordered this application from us, right? Their expectations, they're in this documentation. This how it's supposed to be our ideal implementation. And there's actual result, and you already got the link, right? Currently, where's my here? This is actual result, what I can access through this link. Actually, I can work with this. I can go through this workflow, click on the buttons. It's what we actually have already. So that's what we are checking while we're testing, what we are observing while we're testing, and we compare them. Easy. It was written that it should be like this. I can see this. We do have mismatch. It's supposed to be 3 lines. It is not. There is a bug. Easy. Bug should be filed immediately. So there's several rules how to file a bug. First of all, we need to reproduce it. What does it mean? So repeat it. For example, here I found it, but what if something was wrong with my software, with my Google Chrome, for example? I'm working, by the way, I do recommend to use Google Chrome as a default browser, the most popular one. And then if you want, you can check in different browsers and so on. So I need to reproduce it. Usually what I do, I just open incognito mode. You can do it through like this ... new incognito window. Or you can do it with a combination of the keys from the keyboard. On Mac is Command Shift N. I believe on the Windows it's going to be Control Shift N. So, and I have this black incognito mode. What does it mean? Incognito mode will not keep any like browsing history, cookies, and so on. It's like very clear page. It's a page like when you are logging logging into somewhere as a new user, like clear one. So it's always good to check like this. I'm getting the link, passing it here, and I will be checking one more time if, and have you seen it actually, guys? Have you noticed something when I pass the link and click on the enter like return button? Let me show you one more time. Again, incognito mode. Let's check because something happened, something strange. I was checking the text area. Whoop. Have you seen it? It was 0 people in the line first, and then it actually showed 8 people. So right now I have very fast internet connection, and I do insist to you, because if you see something, like you have to say something. And my first thoughts that right now I have is like, okay, if my user have slower internet connection than me, they probably will have this 0 people sign for some time, like, you know, while it's loading or something, and it's not good. If it will last more than 3-5 seconds, first impression of the user will be, oh, okay, this application is broken. So it's not good. So I would pay attention to this and try to reproduce this bug later. Also, probably there can be situations sometimes for some application, if it's not used, for example, during the night time, the server is down, like automatically. It was not used, so it's kind of saving the energy, the cost, and it's down. And when the first user is trying to reach out this link again, it's kind of waking up, and it will last for longer time. It will looks ugly, like this 0 people in the line when we do have like long line. So it's going to be like really confusing for user. Behavior will look really buggy. So I just, you know, try to reproduce this bug. Try to find some kind of situation when it will be really reproducible. Okay, this is a hint for you. But okay, going back, we were working on different one. I'm resizing the page. So I'm actually right now I'm commenting what I'm doing, right? So I put the link in URL. I'm resizing the page, and voila, there's no tree line. It's actually changing and jumping. So it's not how it was described in the requirements. It's supposed to be 3 lines. Okay, so I was able to reproduce this bug. Again, that means that it's a valid bug. I found it here. I reproduced it in incognito mode. I'm ready to file it. I'm ready to report it to the developers so they could fix it. Okay, what do we do next? We actually describe it. So let me show you quickly how it's supposed to be in the system like DevOps Azure. So the bug report has a pretty strict structure. There is some points that like must have points. Some of the system, they have additional points, additional fields, and so on. So right now here on the screen, the main one must have bullet points that we have to fill in. Without that, our bug reports is kind of looks really weak. What do we need? We need to describe short summary, what happened. It should be like 1 sentence that will describe, okay, what is happening, what the heck is happening on the page, what's the problem. Then we need to describe how to get this bug. Because, for example, even with this one, if by any chance developers were working on this type of screen, right, when they were implementing the application, they were pretty sure that they're doing right thing. It's 3 line. So they were like, okay, we actually implemented it perfectly. But then our user opened it in the big screen and it's like in 1 line, it's not readable and so on. Why we need to, it's in 3 line? Because we want these 8 people on the separate line so people could easily see, okay, how many people in the line. So because of that, it's important. Okay, so we need to describe step to reproduce what we've done. So we got this bug. For example, for in my case, what I've done, I resize the screen, right? I narrow it down. So and because of that, I saw that actually it's not 3 lines. We need to describe clearly what is actual result, like what's wrong. Again, sometimes it's pretty similar to the summary, but it's okay. And we need to describe what was expected result. You may think, okay, actually expected result, like and I met some of the test engineers that says, why should I like put expected result? I'm just like describing the problem in the bug report, and expected results, it's in documentation. Oh, come on. Guys, we are the team here. Like we need to work really close with developers and so on. If when you were testing, you were looking into the documentation, it was like here next to you, because usually when I'm finding a bug, I'm not I'm not relying only on my test cases. Test cases were written based on the documentation, right? But I'm not relying only on test cases. Maybe there were some changes in the documentation already. So I'm going to the documentation, I'm rechecking. Is it really like the bug or I missed something? Your documentation was right here. Can you copy the line from it and put into your bug report as an expected result? Save some time to your developers, because if you're not doing it, they have to go to the documentation, look through it. Again, why they need to do it if you were just doing this? Save some time to the company. It will help you to build good connection with developers. My developers that actually producing bugs that I'm finding, right? They're my best friends in the company. We are working all together. I help them by producing very clear, good bug reports. They love these bug reports. They're like, okay, we were waiting for it for a long time. It's easy to work with them. In this case, because think about this, as a test engineers, as a QA engineers, you're pointing out on someone's mistakes. Who loves it? Who loves that someone will tell you, you prepared too salty soup? Or, come on, you put your t-shirt backward. Like, will you like it? No. But in our job, if all these bug reports, defect reports, right, goes with clear instruction, how it's supposed to be based on the documentation, there's no personal point in this. It's all based on the documentation. And in this case, it's going to be like easy. No one will be angry. You're saving time for the people. You're a hero. Okay. So this is about like these 4 steps, and the 5th one, it's very good, and you need to describe in very simple English. By the way, it's not should okay, about your mistake. Oh, I found a bug and I will describe everything about. No one wants to read like so much text about like, okay, this 3-line situation. Come on, guys. You need to, it's supposed to be like short, clear. You're writing it not for your grandma who cannot use computer, right? You're writing it for the developers who was working on this application. So come on. After you will work on the project for 1 month, maybe 2 weeks for someone, you will already gain some lexica, some vocabulary about the application. You will use all the same words with your coworkers. But sometimes it's even easy to use some pictures, some screenshots, what happened. So let's do it. Let's file a bug. Here on the screen right now, it's shown like a couple application. This one, this picture is from DevOps Azure that we're working on our courses. This one is from Jira. Jira, like Atlassian software, very popular one used on many companies. In my company that I'm working, I use Jira every day. So, but both of this product they have the same main fields for bug report. It's summary. Here it's called title, for example, but it's summary, what happened, right? Some kind of description or steps to reproduce. In Jira, you can modify the field. For example, in our particular project, we modified description and we split it for steps to reproduce actual result, expected result. We did it more comfortable for our test engineers. Sometimes it goes at one field description and you just need to put yourself like steps to reproduce, actual result, expected result. And usually we do have, for example, here we can pin some kind of attachment, or you can paste it inside, for example, actual result field, like inside the ticket itself. So let's do some practice. I will show you like how to do it. You will see that it's easy and you will do your homework perfectly. First of all, I will show you how it's done in our system. For here, for example, all my requirements, they were splitted by different user stories. And right now, this bug that we found, it appeared in this text area. So I go under this text area and I create new item, new ticket. I click it here and it allows me to choose what is it, task or bug? Bug. And I have to, there's like the field appears, it's actually a summary. Summary, it's important to describe what happened so people could understand like what really what's the problem. Usually we do use some specific 3W rules about like 3W, what happened, where it happened and when it happened, which circumstances, right? So we are working on this rule very closely on our main course, but here I just like, describe it. So let's see. We have a bug that we don't have 3 lines, right? When we recite the screen. So how we do describe it in one sentence. So it would be very understandable. What I do usually, I appeal to my test case. So it says text area consists of 3 lines. And this is wrong because it doesn't. So I will use this exact sentence. Text area consists of 3 lines. And I will revert it, right? Bug. Text area doesn't consist of 3 lines when user resize the screen. Voila. This is my, hey, why it's error? Oh, okay. We do have protection in our system that we have to fill in other fields too. So how does it sound, right? For people who works with the application, they will understand like what's happened. Text area doesn't consist of 3 lines when user resize the screen. Let's describe how we got here. So open the app. And what I did, steps to reproduce, how to reproduce it. Open the app, and actually for it to be like perfectly clear, I even pass the link here. I open the app and I inspect. It's, I love this word. It's like focus on some kind of area where to look for, like inspect text area to be like precise. You can on the left top corner, on the left top. Resize the screen. Resize the screen. So actual result, what let's do for example, I don't know if Arthur was showing you, but if you click anywhere on the page and with right click and you go to the last line that says inspect, you will open Chrome Developer Tools. And in this case, when you're resizing the screen, look in the top right corner, like here, you will have the size of your screen. So let's check for which size we do have 3 lines. We do have it about like 11, 20, something around here. Let me see when it's messed up. For example, here, it's already 2, right? That means do more than 1280. Okay. Or look, we do have 4 lines when it's like 1080. Resize and screen. More than 1280 or larger, not more, larger than or smaller than 1080. Right now I am writing this like very granular, like to explain it to anyone in the company, you know, sometimes it can be shorter. Resize the screen, and what happened? Actual result, the text area may consist of 2 lines or 4 lines, depends on the width, right? Expected result, I'm just like taking from the documentation. This is the safest way. Text area consists of 3 lines. It's expected result. How do we expect it to be? We expect that the text, caps lock, the text area should consist of 3 lines. Blah, blah, blah. its expected result. Okay. Also, I want to do an attachment. So for this one, what I can do, you can use the, you can use any tools for screenshot you want. You can use like your laptop tools. If you don't know how to do it, just Google it, how to do screenshot on Mac or on Windows. There's some hotkeys, how to do it, and so on. I can recommend you the program Lightshot. It's free. If you want to store your screenshots in the cloud, we are learning how to use it during our course. And I personally love Droplr. This is paid version of the program. I use it on during my work. So there is a combination of the buttons, and after, so what I do, I just like with some kind of combination of the keys, I can drag the area that I want. So I did a screenshot, and now I have tools to kind of modify it, to put some kind of arrows, you know, like the to emphasize my text area. Don't go super creative about this. It should be like strict document, right? So people would understand, but I do love emphasize some areas about this. Text area has 5 lines here, but should have 3. Something like this. Usually I do it something like this. I do save it. After that, I can download the file, or what I'm doing, usually I copy image and they pass it not to attachment. That's my way. I usually put it here in the actual result like this. This is my bug report. It appears on the board here. Like developers will see, okay, there's a bug report in this area, it's new. They will open it, they will read, okay, text area doesn't consist of 3 lines. When user resize this the screen, right? There's a steps to reproduce. Open the application, inspect area on the left top, resize the screen, and actual result, something like this, with some picture, everything is clear. Expected result should be like this. Voila, everything is clear. Developers will fix it, and your application will be even better next time. Okay, so your homework will be based on your test cases. You will go through your test cases. You can take a look at mine. I actually put them into your like here next to the template, but please use your own. Please, please, please. Go through your test cases, find bugs, file them. Also, please notice your test cases, because they are based on the documentation, they're going to be positive cases, what we expect from the users. But keep in mind that maybe there is a more cases. Maybe you can break the application. You can try to avoid to filling in some of the fields. For example, you will have fun when you will be working with this form, for example, right? You will be like, try to be original with first, last name. Try to, if you have some kind of requirements about like how many symbols you can put, right? If you have a limitation, try to overload this input field, okay? Or skip it and see what happened. But this is a next step after you go through all your test cases already, okay? So you are going through your test cases and plus some of the of some more testing. You don't have access to the system like I do, but what I did, I added bug reports tab here, and it actually has everything that we need for filing a bug. So it has some kind of ID field. It can be like 001 or just like one, okay. It has field summary, and it should be like short sentence that describes what actually happened. It has a field with steps to reproduce, actual result, and expected result. It has this field where I do recommend you to put a picture here. It can be a link to the cloud where you store the picture, or you can do something like I did, right? The picture itself here, just like to narrow it down, cut it. So it's up to you how to do it right now. I don't put your in any frame here, okay? Um, be creative. Just I just showed you one example that as I am doing it, and my developers are pretty happy with this. Also, there's a couple fields here like priority severity. We are talking about this like pretty extensive during the course. It helps to um, like as a test engineer, you already can judge like what should go first, what should be fixed first. It will mean the priority. First priority, it's like the very important bug needs to be fixed. Second priority, third priority. And severity, it's about like how your application behaves with this bug. For example, uh, is it something that breaking it completely when everything hang and the user cannot do anything with the application? It's critical one. Major, when some kind of functionality working not correctly, and minor, it may be design bug or something like this. We do see many different examples. I would be very interesting. It would be very interesting from my side to see if you can assess priority and severity of the bugs that you will find. We already go through one run with this application, and I can assure you that there's more than 5 bugs there. Whatever, like, however, you can find one, but very good one. We are gonna collect all your results. Please submit them through the Slack channel. Uh, how does it called? Free course June, right? So submit them the way you were submitting test cases. I will be checking them, and I will provide the feedback for your bug reports. Try to do open to comments so I could comment on specific fields, because I do love go through bug reports and do some like comments on them. If you find more than one bug, just like copy this field and paste it below. Many of them. Don't forget to copy this page, okay? So you could, like, you cannot write in this specific template because it's template. I already like copied template and put my last name here, or you know your nickname from this Slack. It's up to you. So you could submit it later. So this is pretty much it. I will publish this presentation shortly after the meeting is finished. So you will be able to see all the links. Yep, and so on. So here is like submit your homework in the channel homeworks, but it's not, it was before. You are doing submitting it through the free course John, okay, channel. This is a PDF file, so I cannot change it right now, but yeah, just avoid it, okay? So any questions? And we do have another some I do have some time here, so I can try to answer any questions that you have, not only related to the bug reports, but for QA job, for this profession, for my way, or whatever you want to ask, because I do know I went through similar path when I just relocated to the United States and was looking for, okay, where to go. I was lucky because my background was pretty similar to the QA field, but for the people who are changing their life completely, I know that might be scary, but I do love my job. I do enjoy it, and I'm pretty happy when someone else found joy in it too. So, and I'm here to help you to grow. So, any questions, guys? The best bug will won the T-shirt, I believe.
Good
So,
question. What's the deadline for the homework?
okay, for the homework, that's a good question. Deadline. Do you have a schedule? When do we have the last lesson actually? 1 second, guys. Let me check. Okay. So let's see the schedule for our courses. Free June. Okay. 1 second. So I would be definitely I will be checking it until the next lesson. Okay. And even after that, I don't see the schedule right now. I will answer it through Slack. Okay. So let's say right now it's like Sunday. Let's say until the next Saturday. Okay. That would be perfect. So Saturday included. Your bug reports.
Thank you.
Okay. I love questions like this. What is deadline? So you can be a good worker, yeah. Okay. So if there is no questions right now, so just like reach out to me. You do have my email, LinkedIn account. You can send me a friend request. I will check it some time later. Please mention me through Slack. You can do it just through add and try to type Julia Stepika with any questions. I will answer it. Okay. So in this case, that's it. Any questions, guys? Oh, okay. I see something in the chat. No questions. Yeah, you're welcome. And I see you when I see you. I think I will join the next meeting too, when we will talk about like interview and other stuff. And maybe I will share my experience too, how I did pass my interview last time. Okay. So see you guys. Thank you very much. You're awesome audience. Yep. I hope it was useful. Okay. Bye-bye then.